So we are facing another price hike of essential commodity like diesel, and the Aam Aadmi is increasingly worried about how he's going to run his household. There is also now a proposed limit on LPG to 6 cylinders at a subsidized rate. So all these things are bound to have a cascading effect on people. So can you just trace the history of recent price hikes, and what would you attribute it to? First,
I think the latest price hike was expected for a long time, but it has come in a situation of crisis. The situation under which country is right now, it is not a favorable situation for Aam Aadmi or common people to bear this kind of hike in the prices of diesel, because diesel price hike will always have cascading effect. I think since 2011 the prices of crude oil have crossed more $100, and around that time government has increased prices of petrol from time to time. But somehow the prices of diesel were kept unchanged for a long time, and probably if that time government had increased the prices gradually or marginally, then the burden on the back of Aam Aadmi could have been bearable. But what has happened since then, in the last 1.5 years, is the industrial growth rate has been falling continuously. The latest report says that it is 0.1%. Similarly, the interest rates are very high because of poor monsoon. Agricultural sector is in crisis. It is not growing as fast as it should be. Similarly, the jobs in organized sector and construction sectors that are under pressure.
yes.
So the ability of Aam Aadmi to meet the living expenses from his pocket is already under pressure. And in this situation, when the government decides to increase diesel prices substantially, like if you look at the yesterday's increase, it was kind of more than 10%. So it is going to result in all-out inflation in several things, and it will be difficult for Aam Aadmi to find income to meet these expenses. So I think that this is a very bad news for Aam Aadmi.
I think the entire collage that Anay has just created is about a technical issue of mismanagement of the economy, where you are sucking wealth, not managing the wealth, which is basically to be used for asset creation, and then you are trying to revive the economy by artificial means. So the entire issue is about not classifying your revenue and not justifying your expenditure with the ends that you want to achieve. So where you are talking about creating jobs through manufacturing or reviving the economy, reviving agriculture. Anay spoke about agriculture, but the crisis of the delayed monsoons was aggravated because asset creation, which was required for sustaining agriculture in such uncertainties, wasn't created for that much time. So I
In
think
fact, in recent times, there have been no efforts to revive the economy. There have been, while there have been several, schemes as safety nets, there has been nothing, no solid policy changes have
The
come
schemes
about
which-
which are for which will improve the
The schemes
manufacturing
which you are
sector,
calling safety
or which can
nets.
create jobs.
schemes which you are calling safety nets are rather symptomatic. But somewhere we need to know that our problems of the economy are structural, and till the time we implement those
Yes.
developmental programs which will join the dots of what is required to create a sustainable economy, jobs will not be sustained. Forget creating them.
I think I have a different point of view about this. I think when we talk about economic reforms in the last 2 decades, and we compare with China, which undertook economic reforms 30 years back, China started economic development with a long-term view, long-term plan. Unlike that, India started reforms and initial success it got, but before taking the reforms to the second generation, where as Maulik said, like you have to create assets, but you have to create infrastructure that will sustain long-term growth rate,
Yes.
that will create jobs in manufacturing sector, that will create adequate infrastructure such as roads, highways, railway, port connectivity, availability of electricity. But that did not happen. Even before these things happening, the government tried to distribute this asset and create a welfare state kind of image of itself. So what started happening is the money that was supposed to be invested in the infrastructure was rather given out to people as dole. And again, that money that was given away under the schemes such as Narega was not utilized properly. Look at the amounts of
Leakages.
corruption or leakages in the PDS, in Narega and in other. So the money that should have created assets, that should have created infrastructure in the rural areas, that did not happen. And then in the last 5 years we are seeing unprecedented corruption and governance by reaction, or I mean the government is not taking steps towards the
Proactively.
goal that it has set for itself. The government is reacting to opposition, to the allies, to the policies, and to this internal party versus government kind of struggle that we are seeing. And that's why, as a result of it, I mean there are so many factors, but as a result of which what we have seen is government has come to standstill. And there is no governance in the particularly last 1.5 years, or particularly since this Adarsh scam started in I think in last Diwali. Since
Yes.
then the government has come to a standstill, and that is affecting the economic crisis that is global in nature, but there is no reason as such for India to have same economic crisis of same magnitude, but because of poor track record on governance. We are getting
May I make a point here? The problem endemic to Indian politics, without getting into factionalism and which party has a greater priority to governance. The thing is that today, I remember reading an article by Pratap Bhanumehta which said that we are not respecting the skills which professions require in order to create a network that would sustain itself and create an economy. So the thing is that today, in my academic days, I had a question which asked me, is budget about good politics or is it about good economics? But somewhere we fail to understand that even if the good politics and the good economics create the linkage, it is about our deteriorating expertise in making that product or creating that structure. So somewhere the technical expertise is totally lacking. Even when we talk right from NREGA to national infrastructure building in terms of energy, in terms of connectivity, I think what is happening is that politics is failing to understand the imperatives of technical needs, and the economists are not being able to bypass the political class in order to feed the technical imperatives. So this is something I believe that will not happen by simply talking about economics and politics, but it will have to, somewhere we will have to create a 50-year or 20-year thing where the technocrats will start increasing their say in.
No, I disagree partially with this point, because what we have been seeing, one of the main important reasons of this policy paralysis is the separation between the bureaucrats or technocrats and the government, or between the government and the party, because of which the party people, the people who run the party, people who support the coalition, they are more concerned in the welfare oriented schemes, because that are going to give you
So
votes.
vote bank.
Unfortunately in India, so far in very few cases, economic reforms have given you electoral victory. In many cases it has caused, particularly since NDA's defeat in 2004, the political parties are not that keen to own up reforms, and they try to keep their face as a socialist or welfare oriented face. So particularly in this government particularly, the people who are running the government, the people who are from planning commission and the people who are technocrats basically, including the prime minister, they always come under pressure from the party which is concerned about its electoral future, and that's why many economic reforms are hamstringed even before they go to the allies, or even if they go to the floor of parliament for getting passed as legislation. And so what's going on is there are no major economic reforms taking place in this country, and because of the conflict between the government and the party, the leadership, the control, usually in all other cases the prime minister is the leader of the country or the leader of the ruling coalition, but unfortunately we don't see that case in this particular government. So what we are seeing is prime minister has a plan, but he being a technocrat, he doesn't know how to get that plan implemented, because when at the stage of implementation he needs a strong support from the party or from the ruling coalition, and that he is not getting. So what I think he is got
can we say
restricted in the
it's
conferences.
a combination of technical
Let me
expertise and political will.
Let me just say
Political
that-
will is missing,
Let-
and
Let me just
I
say
think
that
the politician has to be economist.
what Anay said did not contradict my point, but my point was a very small portion of the thing that made up the whole, and Anay complemented it with the largest
No,
perspective.
so my point was the
Let me just give an example of what I mean to express when I said this thing. It is about the National Highways Development Program which was started, and there was a person with considerable expertise in infrastructural development which was put to the job. Political compulsions, if managed properly, will not put an obstruction in such large scale projects, because the sectors which drive the economy are not naive. If they understand that this development, once it takes place, will positively impact that sector.
Correct.
So, of course, when you are talking about political management, it is
what I got from Maulik is what he suggested in maybe the next 2 decades or 5 decades, we will need many more technocrats who can run these
Experts.
countries professionally. I think more than technocrats, I think we have enough number of technocrats. I believe that unless there is a synergy between the politicians and technocrats, you may have n number of technocrats, but if the politicians are not wholeheartedly participating in their agenda or interesting with the mandate that they require. Look at the UID scheme. It started with a bang, but then it got stuck because it did not get the political support that was required. So the problem is not shortage of technocrats, but the problem is of politicians and technocrats are not working hand in hand. The other point that Maulik wanted to make about economic development, particularly about National Highway Development Policy. Why the control over government matters, because what we have seen, particularly this has happened in many developing countries. India is not the first or the last one for that. Even in the countries which are developed now, it happened when they are at the fast track of development, and it happened in China also.
Right.
Many infrastructure projects are undertaken, but instead of completing them timely and within the cost that were allocated to these projects, that the one section in the government or the people who are involved in the project try to delay that projects as much as possible, and then try to inflate the
Justify the
prices and
cost
try
escalation.
to they try to make their fortunes from cost escalations and undertaking new projects. But here in this case, if such things are happening, then the control over these ministers or the people who are doing these wrong things is absolutely essential. And unfortunately, we have seen that in this particular government, the prime minister did not have or did not exert his control over such ministers, and these ministers got a free run to have their own fortunes. And that's why all these infrastructural schemes that were started some years back,
Became
they got
free
stuck,
for
and
all.
they
Or
became
they
free for
became
all,
free for
or
all.
their costs have inflated so much. About highway development, about new airports. Look at the new airport of Mumbai. So far, so many years have passed, but there are no signs of the actual work being started. And so when the airport will complete, or when these highways or these bridges will be complete, they will be so expensive, so the expenditure will be so high, so it will be economically not viable. Infeasible. That this factor needs to be checked by the leadership, and that leadership somehow we are missing somewhere.
Part of